Observe the hand. It reaches, unlocks, and enters the digital void with a familiarity that borders on the instinctual. It's a sequence that happens in the periphery of your awareness. A thumb flicking upward, eyes glazed, the mind beginning its slow, steady drift. You've done this thousands of times. You'll likely do it again the moment this video ends. But while the world obsesses over the content you consume, almost no one has asked the real question. It isn't about why the screen is so bright or why the algorithm is so precise. Those are technicalities. The real inquiry lies elsewhere. What part of your mind actually needs this? We've been conditioned to view this habit as a triviality, a minor lapse in productivity, or a harmless way to kill time. That's a convenient lie. In reality, the act of scrolling is a surgical strike against your own consciousness. It's a ritualized escape that serves a much darker, much more profound function than mere entertainment. If you're willing to look past the surface, you'll find that the screen isn't showing you the world. It's helping you avoid the one that exists behind your eyes. This isn't a failure of discipline, it's a sophisticated psychological defense. It is an architecture of avoidance that has been built, brick by brick, to protect you from the very thing you claim to want: lucidity. The majority of individuals believe they are simply looking for a distraction, yet they never stop to ask what, exactly, they are being distracted from. The friction you feel when the screen goes dark isn't boredom. It's the sudden, heavy return of a self you've been trying to leave behind. The standard narrative surrounding the digital tether is one of moral failing. You are told that you lack discipline, that your attention span has withered, or that you are simply a victim of a dopamine loop. These explanations are comfortable because they are shallow. They frame the issue as a technical glitch in your lifestyle that can be patched with a new app or a weekend retreat. This perspective is a delusion. It treats the symptom as the cause. To truly see the mechanism at work, one must discard the notion that scrolling is a pursuit of pleasure or even a result of boredom. Boredom is merely the surface tension. Underneath lies a far more calculated impulse. The mind does not reach for the device to find something. It reaches to lose something. The common diagnosis of digital addiction suggests a hunger for content, yet notice how little of what you see actually remains. Information is discarded as quickly as it is acquired. This is because the brain is not seeking data. It is seeking the act of displacement. When you move your thumb across the glass, you are not engaging with the world. You are engaging in a sophisticated form of psychological white noise. This is the great misunderstanding of modern existence, the belief that we are consuming when, in fact, we are retreating. The screen serves as a partition, a barrier between the observer and the heavy, unmediated presence of the present. This isn't about the lure of the infinite scroll, it's about the necessity of the break. Consider the specific sensation of the scroll, the way the world blurs into a stream of disjointed images and fragmented sentences. This isn't a failure of focus. It is the successful execution of an interruption. The psyche demands a pause in its own continuity. It seeks to shatter the coherent timeline of your thoughts into 1,000 irrelevant pieces. But to understand the true gravity of this behavior, one must look closer at what is actually being interrupted. There is a specific frequency of consciousness that the mind finds intolerable, and the device is the only tool consistent enough to drown it out. The question that remains is what exactly is vibrating at that frequency, waiting for the moment the screen goes dark to make itself known. The act of scrolling is not a passive intake of information. It is the active decommissioning of the integrated self. To understand this, one must look past the screen and into the mechanics of consciousness. A healthy psyche operates on continuity. the ability to hold a thought, an emotion, or a memory long enough for it to mean something. Scrolling is the precision tool used to shatter that continuity. When you flick your thumb, you're not looking for a win. You are performing a micro-break in your own narrative. It is a form of psychological anesthesia that doesn't put the mind to sleep, but rather keeps it in a state of permanent, shallow fracture. Most people carry the illusion that they are using an app. The reality is that the mind is using the app to dissolve its own density. By flooding the visual field with disjointed rapid-fire stimuli, the internal monologue is forced to reset every few seconds. This prevents any single thought from reaching its logical and often uncomfortable conclusion. It is the systematic avoidance of mental depth. You aren't seeking the content, you are seeking the transition. You are chasing the exact millisecond between posts where the previous thought is deleted and the next hasn't yet arrived. In that tiny gap, you don't have to be yourself. You are briefly, chemically nothing. This fragmentation serves a singular cold purpose. It reduces the intensity of existence. When the mind is scattered across 100 different fragments of data, a tragedy in 1 second, a joke in the next, a commercial in the third, it loses the capacity to feel the weight of its own reality. It is a relief, certainly, but it is the relief of a ghost. You are trading the burden of a coherent identity for the safety of a shattered one. The question is not why the algorithm is addictive, but why the state of being a whole, undivided human being has become so intolerable that you would rather exist as a series of disconnected flickers on a piece of glass. The hand does not reach for the device at random. If you observe the mechanics of your day with surgical detachment, you will notice a pattern governed by the proximity of stillness. The impulse to scroll is most violent during the transitions, those thin, unprotected slivers of time between one state of being and the next. It happens the moment you close a laptop after a period of focus. It happens while the coffee is brewing. It happens the second you sit in a parked car before walking into your home. These are the dead zones of the day, and for the modern psyche, they have become uninhabitable. The common interpretation is that you are seeking to fill these gaps with information. The truth is that you are seeking to bridge them so you never have to fall into them. Each of these moments represents a brief collapse of external demand, a second where the world stops asking something of you. In that silence, the internal world attempts to rise to the surface. Unprocessed tensions, the dull ache of a directionless life, or the sheer heavy fact of being, begin to exert pressure on your consciousness. The scroll is the manual override. It is a digital bridge built over the abyss of the present moment, ensuring your feet never touch the ground of your own reality. This is a tactical avoidance of the reset. When the mind is between tasks, it naturally attempts to integrate experience, to digest the day, and to settle into itself. By introducing the flicker of the screen during these thresholds, you effectively abort that integration. You keep the psyche in a state of permanent, shallow momentum. You are not taking a break. You are preventing a landing. The tragedy of the modern condition is that we have become so estranged from the quietude of our own company that we treat a few seconds of mental space as an emergency to be neutralized. The design of the mind is not a single, solid piece. There is a specific layer of your psychology that doesn't care about your goals, your future, or your peace. It only cares about movement. To understand why you can't stop scrolling, you have to look at this restless, reactive part of yourself. This layer doesn't want meaning, it wants a target. It is fed by the constant flicker of the screen, a feast of quick images and short sentences that require zero effort, zero decision-making, and zero thought. It is like trying to satisfy a hunger that has no bottom. The process is almost mechanical. By giving your eyes a steady stream of fast, shallow information, the device puts your conscious will into a state of sleep. You aren't using the phone. You are merely reacting to it. You are technically awake, but your ability to choose has been switched off. This is a voluntary surrender. The screen gives you the illusion that you are in control, but in reality, you are just following a trail of light that vanishes the moment it leaves the screen. You aren't looking for something to see. You are looking for a way to stop being the one who sees. This constant stimulation creates a short circuit in your ability to go deep. Because this shallow part of the mind is always being fed with noise, it never gets to rest. The hidden price you pay for this is the loss of your own internal voice. You become a passive observer of your own life. The mind chooses the predictable static of a random video because it is afraid of the alternative. It prefers the noise because what waits in the silence is a version of yourself that you no longer know how to handle. Before we look at why that silence feels like a threat, ask yourself, when was the last time you sat still without reaching for a distraction? Silence is no longer a state of rest. It has become a state of emergency. To the modern mind, the absence of a screen feels like a vacuum that must be filled immediately. But the urgency isn't born from a desire for knowledge. It is born from the fear of what the mind produces when it is left to its own devices. When the flicker of the scroll stops, the psychological gravity shifts. The external world retreats, and the internal landscape, dense, unedited, and often uncomfortable, begins to press against your awareness. The act of scrolling is the manual maintenance of a superficial layer of consciousness. It is a way to stay on the surface of your own life, ensuring you never have to sink into the weight of your actual thoughts. The content you consume is the noise used to drown out a specific internal frequency. This frequency contains everything you have successfully ignored: the slow decay of your ambitions, the quiet friction of a relationship that no longer fits, or the simple, haunting realization that your time is passing without your participation. As long as the thumb moves, these realizations stay submerged. You aren't avoiding boredom. You are avoiding the evidence of your own existence. The device is a shield that protects you from the person you become when there is nothing left to distract you. It is a tool for the systematic suppression of the self. This constant evasion creates a mind that is perpetually at war with its own quietude. By refusing to inhabit the silence, you lose the ability to decode the signals your psyche is sending. You become a stranger in your own head, terrified of the very space where clarity is born. This state of constant flight is the primary barrier to any real form of internal freedom. To witness these mechanisms without the comfort of a narrative is the first step toward reclaiming your own attention. To ensure this observation continues, subscribe to The Observer. The revelation of these patterns is the only path out of the trance. Let's be blunt. You are paying for your distractions with the only currency that actually matters: your sovereignty. Every hour spent in the mindless loop of the scroll is an hour where you have effectively ceased to exist as an individual. You are not relaxing, you are consenting to your own obsolescence. By surrendering your attention to a sequence of colored lights, you are allowing the most sophisticated parts of your brain to wither from disuse. You have traded the deep, heavy power of human focus for the cheap, flickering thrill of a dopamine hit that you won't even remember tomorrow. This is the voluntary degradation of your own intellect. The cost is not just lost time, it is the loss of yourself as a coherent force. When you fragment your attention into 1,000 pieces, you lose the ability to hold a single powerful conviction. You become a hollow shell, a collection of borrowed opinions and reactive emotions that change as quickly as the next post. You have become a spectator in your own life, watching the days pass with the same detached apathy that you watch a 10-second clip. You are no longer the protagonist of your story. You are the product being sold. You are the fuel being burned to keep the machine of distraction running, and you are doing it to yourself. This is the ultimate betrayal. You have been given the most complex instrument in the known universe, your mind, and you are using it to watch strangers perform for your validation. You are shrinking your internal world until it fits inside a 6-inch screen. Every time you reach for the device to avoid a moment of boredom or discomfort, you are admitting that you are not enough for yourself. You are declaring that your own thoughts are so small, so uninteresting, or so terrifying that you would rather be anywhere else than inside your own head. You must stop believing that your digital tether is a personal failure of willpower. That is a lie fed to you to keep you guilty and compliant. The reality is far more predatory. The world around you has been systematically redesigned to ensure you never find the silence required to think for yourself. We live in an environment of total psychological warfare, where your attention is the primary resource being mined. Every street corner, every interface, and every social norm is a hook designed to snag your consciousness and pull it away from your center. You are living in a landscape that treats your focus as a threat to its bottom line. This is not a conspiracy. It is a business model. The modern world does not want you whole, focused, or deeply rooted in your own values. A whole person is difficult to manipulate. A fragmented person, someone whose mind is scattered across 100 different tabs and notifications, is easy to steer. The goal is to keep you in a state of permanent, low-level anxiety that can only be soothed by the next hit of digital noise. We have traded our physical town squares for digital arenas where the rules are written by algorithms that prioritize your outrage over your peace. You are being farmed for your reactions, and the convenience of the modern world is merely the bait. The result is a society of ghosts, people who are physically present but mentally elsewhere. You see them in restaurants, in parks, and in their own homes, all staring into the same glowing rectangles, fleeing the immediate reality for a curated hallucination. The environment has become a hall of mirrors designed to keep you from ever looking at the exit. You are being conditioned to find the real world boring because it doesn't provide a reward every few seconds. To survive this, you must realize that reclaiming your attention is not a lifestyle choice, it is an act of rebellion. The exit from this digital cage is not found through more productivity hacks or a better app to track your screen time. Using a digital tool to cure a digital sickness is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The only way out is a cold, violent break from the frequency of the distraction itself. You must begin by reclaiming the dead zones of your day. These are the small pockets of time, waiting for a lift, standing in line, sitting in silence before a meal, that you have surrendered to the flicker. You must learn to inhabit these moments without the shield of a screen. You must let the boredom burn until it turns into something else. Clarity. To break the cycle, you have to stop treating your own mind as an enemy to be silenced. When the urge to scroll hits, it is a signal that a thought or a feeling is trying to surface. Instead of burying it under another layer of noise, you must let it breathe. This is the practice of voluntary discomfort. It is the refusal to be entertained. By sitting with the internal friction, you are essentially rewiring the circuitry that has been hijacked. You are proving to yourself that you can survive 3 minutes of your own company without a hit of dopamine. This is where your sovereignty begins to return, not in the grand gestures, but in the small, silent refusals. This reclamation is an act of war against the forces that profit from your fragmentation. Every moment you spend in unmediated reality is a moment where you are no longer a product. You must cultivate a ruthless gatekeeping of your attention. If a piece of content does not add density to your soul or clarity to your vision, it is theft. You are being robbed of the only life you will ever have, one 10-second clip at a time. The trance only works as long as you are unaware of the mechanism. Once you see the bars of the cage loses its power. To deepen this observation and solidify your escape, subscribe to The Observer. The silence is not the end, it is the beginning of your real life.